Okay, I'm not going to promise this is a whole lot better for a video, but I will tell you it's going to be shorter. So that might be something that's exciting for you. So this video is about planning, continuing to plan about your reunion project. And this one is getting more personal. So you're going to be thinking about 4 things in these upcoming tasks. There's an inventory, and inventory is like when you have a list of things, right? Like how many things are in the store. They look at the inventory. You're doing a self-inventory of, you're self-assessing. So you're looking at your past, a little bit for your education, your interests, that kind of stuff. So it's all self-assessing. So I can't say it's right or wrong, but there are pieces that you need to do. Looking at your goals. What do you want to do in the future? Where do you see yourself going and doing? How are you going to get there? That's part of a goal, is like thinking about how am I going to make this happen? Reflecting, thinking about yourself. So this is just a lot of deep thought about yourself. So it's the best topic yourself. And then when you have all that together and you think about your future, how are you going to get there? It's going to cost some money. So you're going to have a certain lifestyle to support that in the future. So this is just a little bit more preparation for you to be getting ready for that. So why we do that is because of some of this stuff up here on the screen, okay? A goal without a plan is just a wish. And while wishes are amazing, and I want you to have wishes, this I want you to have a plan for. So you know what to do and you can put it in action. It is just a plan. It may not be your future, okay? It's your best guess at this point, and it could change 10 times before you get there in real life. But for now, and for the standards and the tasks and what I need you to demonstrate, you're making a plan, okay? Frederick Douglass up here is telling us, it may not be easy to put together this plan because you're kind of making it up, but if there's no struggle, there's no progress. And so that is really important for me to see you make progress. Benjamin Franklin is the one whose quote you may have heard. There's other people who've said it too, similarly, but if you fail to plan, you are planning to fail. You might have heard that if you're in activities or sports or from coaches or whatever, or other adults in your life. But role models, people kind of throw that out there because it's true. Like without a plan, it's harder to get stuff done. And the last quote I have is having you think about be passionate, move forward with gusto every single hour, every single day until you reach a goal. Like with that kind of an attitude, you can't go wrong, okay? So these are, again, the 4 things you're going to be looking for. You're going to be doing some self-assessing. You're going to be looking at some goal setting, some self-reflection. And that's a really nice way to think about it. It's ability to understand, think, and talk about yourself as a person and as a learner. And ultimately, looking at the cash you want to make and the lifestyle you want to have, you have to kind of have those things in place to get there, to be where you want to be. So to do that, there's some things in Schoology. There's inventory and goal setting mini assignment. And there is kind of this really interesting online game called Spent. I don't know if you've ever played it before, but people have really liked it in the past. So I just want to show you those things in Schoology, if I can, and talk you through them quickly and have you get started on them. Okay, so here's the inventory. I'm going to move this for a second. And goal setting mini assignment. It's, I think, 3 pages. The first step is just asking you to complete this inventory of your past and present education and a little bit about your personality. This is data that I'm going to see and you're going to see, but it's really only helpful to you if you're honest and realistic as you rate these things. I'm not judging you for if you are where you are with your grades or where you want to be with your grades or whatever, but highlight the response that fits you. And you may add a note below the choices if you're like, gosh, it's kind of between this and here's why, or whatever. If you want to have some of that notation in there, you can do that. Otherwise, you can just go through the responses. So at this point in your high school career, do you have enough credits? Your GPA, your homework, you're okay about all of that? What is your work ethic? What is an attitude about that? And then getting a little bit more personal. How do you consider yourself? If you're an introvert or extrovert, and then just some phrases about you, about working and about doing things, and if you agree or disagree with them. it leads to the idea of a growth mindset that even if you haven't been successful in the past, you know you can be successful in the future. That it is not like a predetermined, I've always sucked at this, I'm going to continue to suck at it. But there are things you can do to make improvement, is kind of what growth mindset is about, that you can control that. The second page is about goal setting, and there's 4 areas. You're looking at goals, currently high school. What do you have? Just 2. And then kind of a what can you do column. What can I do today in the semester to make this real? The second area is about personal goals, so not about school, but maybe about a relationship you have with someone, excuse me, a hobby you have, an activity, a job, something you're engaged in. What can you do? What are 2 personal goals, and what can you do in the short term and over the next few months to make that goal happen? Like if it's to get better at soccer, or put more hours in, or put less hours in because I'm working too much or something like that. What can you do? What can you do to make that happen? The letter C, the third one, what are goals I have in the short term after high school? What do you want to do? Do you see yourself going to college? Do you see yourself working and making money? Do you see yourself going in the military? Some of that. And what steps will you have to take to reach that? And then what are your grown up, like adult life goals? What do you want to do? And then what are some steps you know you're going to have to do before you get there? And some of you have been thinking about some of that, and if you haven't, you should. So this is kind of helping you start thinking about it. Short phrases are okay for this. This is not about the grammar. Obviously, I want to be able to read it, and it should be clear to me. But this is not a writing assignment. It's a thinking assignment. And then step 3 kind of connects those 2 things. Look back at your inventory and look at your goals. How do you need to change any of those categories to reach some of the goals that you want to attain? And again, I'm asking you just to be honest and realistic with yourself. And if you're like, everything is cool on that, like my inventory shows I'm doing really well, I'm on track with what I want to do, I'm going to be able to do all these things, explain why. Like, I work really hard at my GPA and I do well in school, blah, blah, blah. I set aside time for homework, and so I'm doing really well in keeping up with my homework. Or on the other side of the spectrum, last year was really hard for me. And so my GPA is not where I want it to be, but I'm in a better place now, and I'm going to be able to do that. Homework is not something I have prioritized in the past because of my situation and circumstances in the last year, but now I'm going to be able to do that, and I can set aside some time. I have a space now that I didn't have before to do my homework, whatever. Okay, you kind of get the idea of that. And that's it on that, okay? So 3 little areas on that, and it's just a lot of thinking. So that is maybe the hardest part, is thinking about yourself. We're not good at that, and we're not used to doing that, so give it a shot. Then the other piece on there is, it's called Spent. It's a game, and there's a little bit of a discussion. And so there's a link in Schoology, and this link will take you here. It's playspent.org is the name of the website. And you accept the challenge to engage in this game. And so it talks about employment. It talks about you're someone who needs to find a job, and you are. You're low on funding. It's going to take you through just kind of some scenario questions and see how much money you need and how much you have to kind of make it in a month with a certain kind of job based on certain circumstances. And it's kind of set up in reality. It's a pretty cool activity to engage in. When you have done that, after playing it, which doesn't take that long, and hopefully the links work for you. I just called it up now and it's working. You have a couple questions to respond to in Schoology. Number 1, were you able to survive the month based on the decisions you made in there, and how do you feel? Explain some tough decisions you made, what factored into that decision, what did you learn from it? And then respond to a couple other posts of people. So those activities over this week are what you're working on to kind of get you ready for the next step, which is the education and training you would need to get for this post-high school experience, whatever it's going to be, kind of the first 5 years after high school. That's the first chunk we're looking at on the reunion piece. So this is getting you ready for some of that work. Okay? So ask questions in class as you need to, but go ahead and get started with these. And as always, good luck.